Remember this? This is the cabinet of the Philips. Now, I need to mount the chassis back into the cabinet. And if we take a look on the inside, you'll see what I mean. Well, on the sides you see those rails. You see one there and you see one there. Let me give it a little bit more light. So there. And the chassis slides into that rail on both sides, like there. Now, originally the chassis would slide into the space and be attached firmly to it by putting in a screw into the chassis and screwing it into this stand here inside the cabinet. Now on the other side, normally you would want to find exactly the same one. However, that one had broken off. Probably somebody tried to unmount the chassis and broke the stand off right here. Yeah. Now, as you can see, I managed to make or remake the stand with a polymer, and more specifically with epoxy glue, but I added a pigment so to darken it, so that it wouldn't be so how should I say, so different from its surroundings. Okay, granted, you can still see it's a repair, but I reasoned that since it's completely down and inside the cabinet, that the color itself really wouldn't matter. It's far more important that the stand is solid. Solid enough, in fact, so that I could screw the chassis back into it. Now, the screw, the type of screw you would need would be this kind of screw. It's a 2mm screw, 2mm diameter screw. I guess you would call that a 1/16 inch screw, and well, that's the right kind of screw for this opening. You know, it screws in perfectly, as you can see. Now, the reason why I'm using a nut onto the screw is because the screw is a few millimeters too long, and I really don't want to destroy the Bakelite when I screw the chassis fast with the screw. So by screwing the screw too deeply, I would break the Bakelite in this stand as it was broken here. Now, to be able to screw into that repaired stand, I need to drill a hole. In fact, I need to drill a hole of a little bit bigger than 2 mil. And then I need to make a thread in it so that I can screw this type of screw into it and thus attach the chassis, which shouldn't pose too much of a problem, I think. So that's what I'm going to do in this cabinet. Also, there's a small, nice little detail up there. I'm sure you notice this screw here and this piece of aluminum. It is my guess that the aluminum functions as a sort of a mass for the antenna. And it is connected to the chassis via a wire and a special contact, namely this, as you can see. And you see here there's a hole drilled into it, which conveniently fits the screw you see there. Yeah? And then when you screw that little piece of metal fast to the cabinet, it presses in on this aluminum paper, thus forming an electrical contact. So that will also be something to mount back. And then, of course, ultimately, when I repaired that stand you see here by drilling a hole into it and then threading it, then I will have to remount the chassis and see whether it will fit snugly and correctly into the cabinet, which I think it will. I don't foresee any kind of problem with mounting the chassis back into the cabinet. So that's where I stand. I'll be back with another update when I'm finished repairing the little stand inside of the cabinet.